All right, everybody, what is going on? Good late afternoon. We do have our practice report here, courtesy of Nemhauser. He posted it up, both sides on his X account a little bit ago. I know that I'm a little bit late here, but I was otherwise occupied just a little bit ago. So here we go with the practice report Wednesday, Seahawks and Packers as they prepare for this upcoming game. So let's go ahead and zoom in on the actual report here. You should be able to see all the relevant information. My head is not in the way, so that's cool. And on first look, there's a lot going on here. But if you drill down, it's really not all that bad. You've got a lot of players with rest days on the Seahawks side, and a couple who have rest days but also have an injury that they're kind of nursing, but it's unlikely that it's going to affect anything as we go through the week. So, Laurie Mafe, rest. Jaron Reed, rest. Tyler Lockett, rest. Laken Tomlinson, rest. Ernest Jones the fourth, rest with a knee. And Leonard Williams, rest with a foot. And at this point, I don't know if Leonard Williams is going to practice anymore this year. Maybe we're just going to say, hey, you're good, man. We don't need you to practice. We're happy with what you're doing. You don't need the practice reps. So, wouldn't worry about anything with those guys. Ken Walker did not participate, which is not surprising. Based on what we heard earlier, I wouldn't expect him to practice today. Probably not even tomorrow, honestly. So I think that Walker, maybe he'll play. Maybe he'll start to ramp up tomorrow, but it sounds like they're planning on allowing him to go without getting a lot of practice in this week. So I would prepare for that. Trey Brown, hamstring. At this point, he's a special teamer. I don't even know if he'd get reps over Artie Burns if Artie Burns is back. So that's become very, very unimportant. And Jarek Reed, who is a pure special teamer at this point, also did not practice with a quadricep injury. Hard to ascribe much meaning to that. So there's only one thing in this box that really equates to much. It's Ken Walker. And hey, we need him. We need him, but at the same time, we've already kind of been told what's going on there. So nothing too bad here. Limited participation. Brady Russell with the foot injury. I mean, again, that's another guy who just doesn't play that much, so not sweating it. And Michael Dixon, who was injured last week and played a good game. So I'm guessing this is just leftover from the injury he had in the Jets game, which we already know isn't really affecting him in any meaningful way. So I would not ascribe a lot of meaning here. And then full participation. The interesting thing here, I guess, would just be that you've got a couple of guys, or actually three guys, trying to get off IR. Forsyth, you got to figure he's got a chance to come off IR this week. And then you've got Artie Burns and Kayvon Wallace working their way back. So this team could be about as healthy as you can imagine a team being in the next week or two here. Like, you really break this down and look at it. Even the backups, even the reserves are going to get pretty clean here. Like, we're going to be at a point where Ken Walker's the one guy that actually kind of stings that you may not have. Because the indication was that Burns and Wallace are right about ready to come back. Same with Forsyth. DK Metcalf, full participant with his shoulder, so doesn't seem like it's really bothering him anymore. Abe Lucas with a knee injury, full participant, no problem. So looking good on that side. And Uchenna Nwosu. So now we know he made it through that game clean. That's the value there, right? If Nwosu didn't make it through that game clean, he'd probably not be practicing today. So that's better than Nwosu's been at any point during this entire season. So, full participation list, looking pretty good, looking pretty fair, liking what I see from this side of things. Now let's go over to the Packers side of things, where there's a little bit more interesting, compelling stuff going on. They have one player that didn't participate today, Bullard, Javon Bullard, the safety, with the ankle injury. Not trivial, not necessarily trivial. He's been, I remember scouting him a lot in college and liking what I saw. Limited participation. They've got a bunch of guys here, including Luke Musgrave, who's trying to get off the IR, so we'll monitor him throughout the week. But you've got Corey Ballantyne, cornerback with a knee, which won't be that big of a deal if they get good news on another player who I'll get to in a second here later in the week. Edgerrin Cooper with the hamstring. Now, as I've said before, if you're limited on Wednesday, you're probably going to be good on Sunday, but the nature of a hamstring injury is you don't know. The hamstring injury can really linger on and be a pain going even beyond what you would expect and even after the player has started to practice a little bit. Travis Glover, he's sick though, so he's going to be fine. Isaiah McDuffie, ankle. Evan Williams, one of their rookie safeties, concussion. And the same rule kind of applies there, right? Like normally you'd look at a player who's limited on Wednesday and you'd be like, hey, he's going to be fine. But the concussion, sometimes you don't know. So they've got some stuff going on here, but none of it looks terrible. Edgerrin Cooper would be a big loss if they don't have him, but right now he looks like he's on track. What the full though, they got some really good news this week, mostly in the form of Jaire Alexander, who I didn't even know this, which shows how much I follow Green Bay. Jaire Alexander's been out for a while. He hasn't played in like a month almost, apparently. And he was a full participant today, which indicates he's going to be good. And that's a lifesaver for that secondary, period. That's a big deal if he's back. And if he doesn't go backwards tomorrow, he'll probably be back. So they're getting good news with Jaire Alexander. Romeo Dobbs, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but full participant with a concussion, so worth monitoring, but looks like he's good too. Got one of their, Josh Myers, I don't think he starts for them, I could be wrong. With the pectoral, he's fine. Lucas Van Ness, I remember him from the draft a couple years ago. Full participant with the thumb injury. And then you've got Rasheed Walker with the knee injury, full participant. So they're looking pretty good too. Assuming these guys actually get to play in the game on Sunday, assuming these guys actually get to where it looks like they're going, they're in a pretty good spot as well in terms of injuries. So it should be a pretty fair fight. This should be a matchup between two teams that are relatively close to full strength. And don't get me wrong, Jaire in his first game back after missing some time, that is not going to be the same Jaire Alexander that we're used to seeing. That's not going to be the elite corner Jaire Alexander. That might just be a decent corner Jaire Alexander. But you can't ask for much more if you're a fan of either team, really. All right. So that's the practice report today. It's only Wednesday, but even though it's only Wednesday, the news is still really positive overall, right? You look at this and you're like, wow, both teams are on track to have pretty much everything they need for game day. All right, see you guys later. Probably one more video coming later today. It won't be a Seahawks video, though. Everyone have a good day. Go Hawks.